I am glad you are here. Stay with me until the end and comment the city you are watching from, because what I am about to tell you changed everything I thought I knew about family, success, and the price of silence. My mother called 3 days before Christmas. Her voice had that rehearsed quality, the tone she used when she had already decided something and was just going through the motions of pretending to ask. "Isabella," she said, "I do not think you should come home for Christmas this year. Things are tense right now. Your presence would just make everyone uncomfortable." I stood in my kitchen in Denver, Colorado, phone pressed to my ear. The calendar on my refrigerator showed December 22nd, 3 days until their perfect holiday, 3 days until I would spend Christmas alone for the third year in a row. "I understand, Mom," I said. That was it. Just 2 words. Because at 35, I had learned that arguing only made things worse with her, only gave her more ammunition to use against me later. What my mother did not know, what none of them knew, was that in 72 hours they would see my face on every news channel in America, and they would finally understand what I had been building in silence while they counted me out. The conversation lasted less than 4 minutes. Margaret Wright was nothing if not efficient when delivering disappointment. She explained that Vanessa and Derek were going through a rough patch, that having extra people around would be stressful, that maybe we could do something in January after things settled down. Extra people. That is what she called me. Her firstborn daughter. Extra. I listened to her reasons without interrupting. I had heard versions of this speech before. Different holidays, different excuses, same conclusion. Isabella does not fit. Isabella makes things awkward. Isabella should stay away. "Well," she said when she finished, "I knew you would understand. You have always been the reasonable one." The reasonable one. That was her favorite way to dismiss me. As if my silence was agreement. As if my refusal to fight meant I accepted being pushed aside. "We will call you on Christmas morning," she added, almost as an afterthought. "And, Isabella, be nice if Vanessa reaches out. She is going through a lot right now." The line went dead before I could respond. No, I love you. No Merry Christmas. Just instructions to be nice to the sister who had spent a decade making sure I stayed on the outside looking in. 23 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a text from Vanessa. She had never been one to let an opportunity pass. "Mom told me she called you," the message read. "Honestly, it is probably for the best. You always make things awkward, Isabella. You sit there judging everyone while contributing nothing. Maybe use the time to figure out your life. Get a real job. Find a husband. Just a thought. Merry Christmas." She ended it with a heart emoji, as if that made any of it kind. I read the message twice, letting the words settle into the familiar places they always found. The bruises were old by now, but they still knew how to ache. Vanessa was 31 years old, married to Derek, a corporate lawyer who looked at spreadsheets the way some men looked at women. 2 children, a house in Phoenix with a pool and a 3-car garage. She was everything our mother wanted a daughter to be, and I was the cautionary tale. The sister who quit a perfectly good banking job to chase some fantasy in technology. The sister who chose ambition over a wedding ring. The sister they had stopped asking about at family dinners because my answers never satisfied them. I typed a response. "Thank you for your concern, Vanessa. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas." Then I deleted it. I typed another. "I am doing better than you will ever know." Deleted that too. In the end, I sent nothing. Silence had become my only weapon, and I was not ready to surrender it. I set my phone on the counter and looked around my apartment. It was small but clean. A second-hand couch I had reupholstered myself. A desk buried under papers and notebooks. A kitchen that smelled like coffee and ambition and loneliness. There was no Christmas tree, no decorations, no point in celebrating alone. Against my better judgment, I opened Instagram. Vanessa's profile sat at the top of my feed, a new post from that afternoon. The photo showed her living room in Phoenix, professionally decorated with a massive tree and a fireplace glowing amber. Her family gathered on matching cream-colored couches. Margaret in the center, smiling. Derek with his arm around Vanessa. The kids in coordinating outfits, everyone together, everyone except me. The caption read, "Christmas Eve prep with my whole heart. So grateful for family, love, and traditions that matter." 147 likes already. Comments flooding in from cousins and aunts I had not heard from in years. Beautiful family. Living the dream. So blessed. My whole heart. That is what she wrote. I was not in that photo. I was not in that heart. And the worst part was that I had stopped expecting to be. I closed the app and walked to my refrigerator. 11 drawings covered the surface, held up by magnets shaped like Colorado mountains. Crayon figures with wild curly hair and big smiles. Hearts in pink and purple. Rainbows arching over houses. All from Sophie, my 8-year-old niece. Vanessa's daughter. All sent secretly, with no return address, mailed to my office and forwarded home. An 8-year-old girl, hiding her love for her aunt like it was something forbidden. I touched the edge of one drawing. Sophie and me holding hands under a yellow sun. The caption in wobbly letters said, "I love you, Aunt Bella. You are my favorite." She had been sending these for 2 years. Birthday cards, holiday wishes, little notes that said things like, "I miss you," and "I wish you could come visit." Vanessa did not know, or if she did, she pretended not to. Either way, Sophie had learned young that loving me was something to keep hidden. That broke me more than any of my mother's excuses ever could. I walked to my desk and opened my laptop. The screen glowed to life, and there it was, the email sitting at the top of my inbox. From Jonathan Mercer, CEO, Nexacare Health Systems. Subject line, "Final signatures. Congratulations, Isabella." The message was brief. "The board has approved the acquisition. $850 million for your 35% stake. We sign tomorrow morning. Welcome to the next chapter." I stared at those words for a long time. My family thought I was playing with computers. They thought I was wasting my education, throwing away my potential on some startup fantasy that would collapse any day now. They had no idea that while they were excluding me from Christmas dinners and birthday parties and Thanksgiving gatherings, I was building something that would change medicine forever. They did not know that tomorrow I would sign papers that would make me one of the wealthiest self-made women in Colorado. They did not know, because they had never asked. My phone buzzed again. Another notification. This time from Forbes Media Relations. Subject line, "Interview request. Acquisition feature story. We would like to profile you as one of Colorado's most influential women in technology." I closed the laptop, looked out at the Denver skyline, snow falling soft against the glass. They thought I was nobody. In 72 hours, the whole world would know my name, and my mother would call me, voice trembling, asking a question she should have asked years ago. "Was that really you?" I could not sleep that night. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, the phone call with my mother and Vanessa's text replaying in my mind like a song I could not stop hearing. But underneath the fresh wounds, older scars were pulsing. Deeper pain that had nothing to do with this Christmas and everything to do with the decade that came before it. People ask me when my family stopped loving me. I do not think they ever stopped. I think they never started. Not the real me, anyway. They loved the idea of a daughter. A quiet, obedient girl who followed the script they had written for her. The moment I rewrote that script, I became a stranger to them. I reached for the wooden box on my nightstand. Inside was a single letter, the edges worn soft from years of handling. My father's handwriting on the page. To understand why that letter matters, you need to understand what I gave up, and what it cost me. 10 years ago, I was 25 years old with a corner office at First Mountain Bank in Phoenix, junior financial analyst, fast track to senior management, 6-figure salary on the horizon. I was everything my mother had raised me to be, responsible, stable, safe. But every day in that office felt like drowning in slow motion. I would sit in conference rooms listening to executives discuss quarterly profits, while my mind wandered to the notebook hidden in my desk drawer. pages filled with algorithms and data models and questions about healthcare patterns that no one was asking. I had been researching in secret for 2 years, studying how predictive analytics could identify chronic diseases before symptoms appeared. The science consumed me. The potential kept me awake at night. And then Dr. Ellen Graves called. She was my former professor at Stanford, the one who had first seen something in me that I did not yet see in myself. "Isabella," she said, "I have a spot in an incubator program for health technology startups. Your research is exactly what we are looking for. But you have to commit. Full time, all in. It is now or never." I sat in my office that afternoon, her words echoing in my head. Now or never. And I knew what I had to do. I walked into my manager's office and handed him my resignation letter. He looked at me like I had lost my mind. "You are making a huge mistake," he said. "You will never get this opportunity again." "I know," I told him. "That is why I have to take a different one." I did not feel brave. I felt terrified. But for the first time in my life, I felt like I was choosing my own path instead of walking someone else's. I cleared my desk and checked my phone. A text from Vanessa was already waiting. "Mom told me you quit. Are you insane?" I did not respond. I knew what was waiting for me at home. The drive to my parents' house felt longer than usual. I rehearsed what I would say, how I would explain my vision, my research, the potential to save lives. I imagined them listening, really listening, and finally understanding who I was meant to become. I never got the chance to give that speech. My mother started before I even sat down. "I heard what you did," she said. Her voice was sharp, her eyes harder. "Please tell me it is not true." "Mom, let me explain." "Explain what? That you threw away a perfectly good career for some fantasy? Do you know how hard I worked to get you that job? The connections I used? And you just quit." She was standing over me, arms crossed, fury rolling off her in waves. "What are you going to do now? Play with computers? Start some little company that fails in 6 months?" I tried to speak, but she kept going. "I raised you better than this, Isabella. I raised you to be practical, to be smart, to think about your future, and you are throwing it all away for what? Some dream?" Vanessa sat at the table watching with a small smile on her face. She was 21 then, newly engaged to Derek, already wearing the ring like a trophy. "I always knew Isabella thought she was too special for a normal life," she said. "Some of us are happy with stability. Not everyone needs to be a genius." She said genius like it was an insult. Aunt Barbara was on speakerphone from across the country. "I told you, Margaret, she was always the difficult one. Cousins were texting the family group chat I was not part of. Did you hear about Isabella?" So sad. I sat there in silence while my family dissected my choices like a failed experiment. My mother listed every sacrifice she had made for me. Vanessa cataloged every way I had disappointed them. And I said nothing because there was nothing to say that they would hear. Only one person stayed quiet through all of it. My father, Henry, sat at the head of the table watching me with an expression I could not read. When dinner finally ended and everyone scattered to their corners, he caught my arm in the hallway. "Stay," he said softly. "I want to talk to you." We went out to the backyard, to the porch swing where he used to read to me when I was little. The same swing where he taught me that the world was bigger than our small house, bigger than Phoenix, bigger than anything my mother could imagine. The stars were out. The night was quiet. And my father said the words I had been waiting my whole life to hear. "Tell me about this idea of yours, Bella. The real version. Not the one you were going to sanitize for your mother." So I told him everything. The algorithms, the health data patterns, the potential to catch diseases years before symptoms appeared, the chance to save lives that would otherwise be lost to late diagnoses and missed warning signs. When I finished, his eyes were wet. "Your grandmother, my mother, she died of pancreatic cancer," he said. "By the time they found it, she had 3 months. If someone had caught it earlier," he paused. "Isabella, if you can build what you are describing, you could save people like her. You could save thousands of people like her." He took my hand. The same hand that used to hold mine when I was scared of thunderstorms. "Do not listen to your mother," he said. "Do not listen to Vanessa. They are scared of what they do not understand. You have a fire in you, Bella. I have seen it since you were a little girl. Follow that fire, even if it burns everything else down. What if I fail, Dad? Then you fail having tried something that mattered. That is more than most people can say." He hugged me then, really hugged me. The kind of hug that says everything words cannot. "I believe in you," he whispered. "I will always believe in you." 2 years later, Henry Wright was dead. A heart attack on a Tuesday morning in March. No warning, no time. He was 62 years old. I flew home in a daze and stood at his graveside watching them lower my father into the ground. The only person who had ever believed in me, gone. After the service, my mother cornered me in the kitchen of their house. My house now, I suppose, though it never felt like mine. "He worried about you constantly," she said. Her voice was cold, controlled, every night asking if you were okay, if you had enough money, if your little company was surviving. She looked at me with something close to contempt. "The stress of watching you struggle did not help his heart, Isabella. She did not say you killed him. She did not have to." Vanessa appeared behind her, arms crossed. "Mom is right. Dad was always defending you, always making excuses for your choices. Maybe if you had just been normal, he would not have spent his last years worrying." I left that night without saying goodbye. Drove to the airport and flew back to Denver, where my company was barely surviving. 3 employees, a tiny office, savings running out, and no father to call when everything felt impossible. A week later, I found the letter. It was in my mailbox, forwarded from my parents' house. An envelope with my name in his handwriting. Inside, a single page dated 3 weeks before he died. "My dearest Bella, if you are reading this, I am probably gone. And I am sorry I could not say this in person. I know the road ahead will be hard. I know they will not make it easy for you. But do not let them dim your light. You are going to do something extraordinary. I have always known it. When you doubt yourself, remember this. I chose to believe in you. And I was right. I am already proud. Love, Dad." I have read that letter 1,000 times, on hard days, on lonely nights, on every Christmas I spent alone. It is the reason I never gave up, and it is the reason that when my mother finally saw my face on the news, I felt something I had not expected. Not triumph, not revenge, just grief. Because the one person who should have been there to see it was already gone. I closed the wooden box containing my father's letter and set it back on my nightstand. December 23rd. Morning light filtered through my apartment window, pale and cold. 8 years since Henry died. 8 years of building in silence. Today, everything was about to change. Grief does not disappear. It just learns to share space with other things. I carried my father's belief like a second heartbeat through every obstacle, every setback, every night I almost quit. Every algorithm I wrote, every investor who said no, every moment I questioned my sanity, I heard his voice. "You are going to do something extraordinary." He was right. I just wish he could have been here to see it. I showered and dressed in my best blazer, charcoal gray, professional but not flashy. Checked my phone and found 17 emails from lawyers, accountants, and board members. One text from Marcus Chen. "Big day. Do not be late." And breathe. I grabbed my keys and headed downtown. MedInsight Analytics headquarters occupied the 14th floor of a modest building on 17th Street in Denver. No gleaming tech campus with beanbag chairs and ping-pong tables. Just functional office space with whiteboards covered in equations and coffee cups scattered across every surface. I liked it that way. Substance over flash, results over appearances. The elevator doors opened and I stepped into the world I had built. 43 employees looked up from their screens as I walked through. Engineers hunched over code. Data scientists arguing about machine learning models. A small sales team making calls in the corner. Everyone waved or nodded as I passed. "Morning, boss. Big day, huh?" We are all rooting for you." These people had bet their careers on my vision. Some of them had been with me since the beginning, when we could not afford to pay full salaries, and I promised them equity that might never be worth anything. Now that equity was about to make them wealthy beyond anything they had imagined. "I built this," I thought as I walked through the rows of desks. Every hire, every algorithm, every client relationship, every sleepless night and impossible decision. 7 years ago, this company was a dream scribbled in a notebook. 5 years ago, it was me and Marcus in a garage, surviving on ramen and stubbornness. 3 years ago, we landed our first hospital contract. Today, we were about to be acquired for over $1 billion. I found Marcus Chen in his corner office, staring at his laptop with the calm focus of a man who had weathered storms far worse than this one. He was 52 years old, silver-haired, with the quiet confidence of someone who had nothing left to prove. Former Chief Technology Officer of Rayburn Health Systems, one of the largest medical technology companies in the country. He had walked away from all of it to bet on a 28-year-old nobody with an idea and no business plan. "There she is," he said, looking up with a smile. "The woman of the hour." I sat down across from him. "I think I am going to throw up." "Good. That means you understand what is happening. I met Marcus 7 years ago at the Stanford Medical Innovation Conference. I was 28, fresh off my father's death, presenting my research to a room full of skeptical investors who had already decided I was wasting their time. I stumbled through my slides. My voice shook. My data was solid, but my delivery was amateur. Everyone passed. Too risky. Too ambitious. Who was this nobody from Denver with her algorithms and her dreams? But one man stayed after the room emptied. He asked questions. Real questions. The kind that showed he understood what I was trying to build. We went for coffee, and 3 hours later, he made me an offer that changed my life. "Your algorithm is rough," he said. "Your business plan is worse, but your idea could change medicine. I am in. Let us build this together." Marcus brought experience, connections, credibility. I brought the vision, the algorithms, the relentless drive that my father had recognized and my mother had tried to extinguish. We disagreed constantly and respected each other completely. He became the mentor I never knew I needed. The father figure who showed up after mine was gone. Marcus studied my face now with that look he got when he was about to say something I did not want to hear. "You have got that expression," he said. "The one where you are thinking about your family." I stiffened. "I am fine. You do not have to be fine. This is a big moment, and the people who should be celebrating with you are not here. Have you told them? About any of this?" "They never asked." He nodded slowly, like that answer confirmed something he already knew. "Walk me through it again," he said. "What we built. I want to hear you say it before we sign." I knew this trick. He was grounding me, reminding me why this mattered when the weight of the moment threatened to crush me. MedInsight Analytics developed predictive algorithms for early disease detection. We analyze patterns in patient data that human doctors cannot see. Subtle markers in blood work, imaging, genetic profiles. Connections that would take a physician years to recognize, our system identifies in seconds. Our algorithm catches pancreatic cancer 18 months earlier than traditional screening, catches heart disease before the first symptom, catches diabetes in patients who do not fit typical risk profiles. We are currently deployed in 37 hospitals across 12 states. In 4 years, our technology has flagged over 8,000 patients for early intervention. Estimated lives saved? Impossible to count. But the thank you letters from families fill an entire drawer in my desk. I built this because of my grandmother. She died of pancreatic cancer before I was born, and because of my father. A heart attack took him at 62. No warning, no time. If MedInsight had existed 20 years ago, maybe they would both still be alive. That is what I was building while my family wrote me off. That is what they never bothered to understand. Marcus nodded. And now Nexacare wants to put our technology in 200 hospitals by 2027. 200 hospitals, millions of patients, all because you refused to give up. My eyes stung, but I blinked it away. We refused to give up. Same thing, he said with a smile. Now let us go make history. We walked together down the hallway toward the conference room where the signing would take place. Employees lined the walls, some applauding softly, some giving thumbs up and quiet words of encouragement. These people believed in me when no one else did. They trusted their futures to my vision before anyone had validated it. The legal team was already inside, documents spread across the mahogany table in neat stacks. A video screen dominated one wall, ready to connect with NexaCare's New York headquarters. My hands would not stop shaking. I thought about calling my mother that morning, telling her everything before the world found out. I imagined saying the words, "Mom, I am about to become a billionaire. I built something that saves lives. Are you proud of me now?" But I knew what she would say. Some version of that is nice, but when are you getting married? So I did not call. I walked into that conference room alone, the same way I had done everything else for the past decade. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me look. It was Sophie. She must have borrowed Vanessa's iPad again. "Good luck today, Aunt Bella. I do not know what you are doing, but Mom said you have a big meeting. I hope it goes good. I love you." I stared at those words from my 8-year-old niece, the only member of my family who sent love without conditions, the only one who cared enough to wish me well, even without knowing why. I typed back quickly, "Thank you, sweetheart. I love you too." Then I slipped the phone into my pocket, took a breath, and turned to face the screen. The video link connected, and there he was. Jonathan Mercer, 60 years old, silver hair, the kind of executive who built empires through discipline and vision. He smiled at me through the screen with the respect of one builder recognizing another. "Ms. Wright," he said, "it has been a long 8 months of negotiation. I have to say, you are one of the toughest dealmakers I have ever faced. I learned from the best." I glanced at Marcus, who gave me the smallest nod. "Then let us make this official," Mercer said. $850 million for your 35% stake. Upon signing, you will become one of the wealthiest self-made women in Colorado. The lawyers pushed documents toward me. Pens were uncapped. Every eye in the room was on my hand as I picked up the pen. My father's words echoed in my mind. "You are going to do something extraordinary." In that moment, I was not thinking about the money. I was thinking about every person who told me I would fail, every Christmas dinner I was not invited to, every text from Vanessa telling me to get a real job. Every time my mother looked at me with disappointment instead of pride. I signed my name on the line, and everything I had built in silence became real. But I did not know yet that in less than 48 hours that silence would shatter. My family would finally see what they had been too blind to notice. And nothing between us would ever be the same. December 24th, Christmas Eve. I stood in the elevator of my apartment building watching the numbers climb to the 7th floor. 24 hours since I signed papers that made me worth $850 million. My hand still remembered the weight of the pen, the finality of that signature, the moment when everything I had built in silence became undeniably real. The elevator doors opened, and I walked down the hallway to my apartment, the same hallway I had walked 1,000 times before. The same door, the same lock, the same small space waiting on the other side. I had spent 7 years dreaming of this moment, building toward it, sacrificing everything for it. And now that it was here, I felt nothing. No, that is not true. I felt something. I just did not have a name for it yet. The apartment was exactly as I had left it that morning. Small, quiet, empty, no Christmas tree in the corner, no stockings hung anywhere, no decorations of any kind. Just silence and the hum of the refrigerator and the pale winter light coming through the windows. I set my bag down and kicked off my heels. Walked to the kitchen and opened a bottle of wine. A nice one, expensive. The kind I had been saving for a special occasion. I poured a glass and carried it to the couch, sat down in the silence of my apartment. A billionaire drinking wine alone on Christmas Eve. Somewhere there was probably a support group for that. Lonely rich people anonymous. I would have laughed if it was not so pathetic. The money was real, the success was real, but so was the emptiness. Achievement means nothing when there is no one to share it with. Triumph feels hollow when the people who should celebrate with you do not even know it happened. I took a long drink of wine and did something I knew I should not do. I opened Instagram. Vanessa's profile was right at the top of my feed. A new post from 2 hours ago. The photo showed her living room in Phoenix, professionally decorated for the holiday. A massive Christmas tree covered in white lights and silver ornaments, a fireplace glowing warm amber. Her family gathered on matching cream-colored couches in coordinating outfits. Margaret sat in the center, smiling that perfect smile she reserved for photographs. Derek had his arm around Vanessa, looking every inch the successful husband. Their children flanked them on either side. Everyone beautiful, everyone happy, everyone together. The caption read, "Christmas Eve with my whole heart. So grateful for family, love, and traditions that matter. Hashtag blessed beyond measure. Hashtag family is everything. Hashtag Merry Christmas, 123 likes already. Comments flooding in from relatives and friends. Beautiful family, living the dream, so perfect. You are so blessed, Vanessa." I stared at those words. My whole heart. That is what she wrote. I was not in that photo. I was not in that heart. And the worst part was that I had stopped expecting to be. I scrolled through the comments, torturing myself with each one. Then I saw something that made me freeze, a comment from Sophie posted 3 minutes ago. "I wish Aunt Bella was here. I miss her." My breath caught in my throat. 8 years old, and she had the courage to say what no adult in that family would admit. I refreshed the page. The comment was gone, deleted. Someone had erased it in less than 3 minutes. Probably Vanessa. Could not have anything disrupting the perfect image, could not have anyone asking questions about the daughter who was missing from the frame. I closed the app and threw my phone onto the couch beside me. My hands were shaking, not from anger, from something deeper, something that felt like grief. Sophie had been reaching out to me in secret for years. Birthday cards mailed to my office with no return address. Drawings sent through the mail labeled for Aunt Bella in crayon. Video messages on her iPad when her parents were not watching. An 8-year-old girl hiding her love for her aunt like it was contraband. Like caring about me was something to be ashamed of. I walked to my bedroom and opened the nightstand drawer. Inside was a folder thick with everything Sophie had sent me. Drawings and cards accumulated over 2 years of secret correspondence. I spread them across my bed. A stick figure Isabella with wild curly hair and a big smile. "You are my favorite aunt," the caption read, spelled the way only a child can spell. A rainbow over a house with 2 figures holding hands. "I love you, Aunt Bella, come home soon." A Christmas tree with a lonely figure standing beside it. "This is you. You look sad. I want to make you happy." Each drawing was a window into what my niece saw, what she understood that the adults in her life refused to acknowledge. Sophie saw me, really saw me. While her mother and grandmother decided I was worthless, this little girl kept sending love through the mail. She was the only right who had not given up on me. And I had not seen her in person in almost 2 years. Vanessa made sure of that. At the bottom of the drawer was a postcard that had arrived just last week. Sophie's handwriting was getting neater, more controlled. She was growing up. "Merry Christmas, Aunt Bella. I drew you a star because you shine even when people do not see. Love, Sophie." Then a postscript at the bottom. "Please do not be sad." I pressed the postcard to my chest and let the tears come. A billionaire brought to her knees by a child's crayon star. My phone buzzed on the couch. I wiped my eyes and went to check it. "Marcus Chen," I answered immediately. "Shouldn't you be celebrating?" he asked. I could hear the smile in his voice. I'm drinking wine alone and looking at Instagram photos of my family's Christmas party. The one I was not invited to. There was a pause. Isabella. I know, I should not look, but I cannot help it. Background noise came through his end. Laughter, children playing, the chaos of a happy family gathering. He was in Hawaii with his wife and kids and grandchildren, living the life I had never managed to build for myself. Listen to me, he said. What you did today. What you built. Your father would be so proud. Silence. I could not speak. Did you hear me? Henry would be proud. He's the only one who would be. My voice cracked despite my efforts to control it. My mother thinks I wasted my life. My sister thinks I'm a joke. And tomorrow when the news breaks, they'll finally know the truth. They'll see what they refused to see. Is that what you want? For them to finally understand? I considered the question. I don't know what I want anymore. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said something that stayed with me. The point isn't to prove them wrong, Isabella. The point is that you built something real, something that helps people, that matters whether they see it or not. I know, logically I know that. But I'm 35 years old. I'm worth $800 million. And I still just want my mother to say she's proud of me. The silence stretched between us. Give it time, he finally said. This is a lot for anyone to process, even difficult families. And if they never process it, then you find peace another way. You've done it before. Get some sleep. Call me tomorrow. And Isabella? Merry Christmas. I'm proud of you, even if they're not. The call ended. I sat holding my phone in the dark apartment, his words echoing in the emptiness. I retrieved the wooden box from my nightstand, opened it with careful hands. My father's letter lay inside, the paper worn soft at the edges from years of reading. I unfolded it and let his words wash over me one more time. My dearest Bella, I know I will not see your success, but I know it is coming. Do not let them dim your light. You are going to do something extraordinary. When you doubt yourself, remember this. I chose to believe in you, and I was right. I am already proud. Love, Dad. I traced his handwriting with my finger. I did it, Dad, I whispered. I wish you were here. I wish you could see what your belief built. Tears fell onto the paper. I wiped them away carefully, protecting his words from my grief. The television was on in the background, volume low, just noise to fill the silence. But then something caught my attention. A news anchor appeared on screen with a graphic behind her. Coming up after the break, she said with practiced enthusiasm. A Colorado startup makes history with a $1 billion acquisition. Who is the mysterious co-founder about to become one of America's newest billionaires? My photo flashed on screen. The professional headshot from the company website. My face, my name, broadcast to millions of homes across the country. Full story tomorrow morning on our Christmas Day special report. The anchor smiled. You will not want to miss this one. My phone started buzzing immediately. Emails from journalists, requests for comment, interview invitations, networks wanting exclusives, but nothing from my family. Not a single message from Phoenix. They did not know yet. They would find out tomorrow, with the rest of the world. I turned off the television, sat in the darkness. The wine was finished. The letter was in my lap. Outside my window, Denver was covered in snow. Somewhere across the city, church bells began to ring. Christmas Day was coming. In a few hours, the sun would rise and America would wake up to the story of Isabella Wright. And in a house in Phoenix, my mother would see my face on her television screen. I did not know what would happen then, whether she would call, what she would say. I just knew that after 35 years of being invisible, I was about to be seen. I fell asleep on the couch that night, holding my father's letter like a lifeline. I dreamed of him. He was smiling. And when I woke up, the world had already changed. I woke up on Christmas morning to the sound of my phone buzzing against the coffee table. Not just buzzing, vibrating continuously, relentlessly, like something alive and desperate for attention. I opened my eyes and blinked at the ceiling, disoriented. My neck was stiff from sleeping on the couch. My father's letter was still clutched in my hand. Pale morning light filled the apartment, and my phone would not stop moving. I reached for it with clumsy fingers, still half asleep, and the screen lit up with numbers that did not make sense. 47 missed calls, 231 text messages, over 1,000 email notifications. For a moment I thought something terrible had happened. A death, an emergency, some catastrophe that required 47 people to reach me on Christmas morning. Then I remembered. The deal, the news, the story that was supposed to break today. I grabbed my phone and sat up, heart pounding. The first text I saw was from Marcus. Turn on any news channel. You are everywhere. I reached for the remote with shaking hands. The television flickered to life, and there I was, my own face staring back at me from the screen. CNN was in the middle of a segment when I tuned in. A polished anchor with perfect hair and a practiced smile sat behind the news desk with a graphic over her shoulder, and in what is being called one of the most remarkable success stories of the year, she said, Colorado-based MedInsight Analytics was acquired yesterday by healthcare giant Nexicare in a deal worth $1.2 billion. My photo filled the screen, the professional headshot from the company website. My face broadcast to millions of homes across America on Christmas morning. Co-founder Isabella Wright, 35, who holds a 35% stake, is now estimated to be worth over $800 million, making her one of the youngest self-made female billionaires in American history. I sat frozen on my couch, watching strangers discuss my life like I was a character in a story. I flipped to CNBC. Wright's algorithm has already been credited with early detection of thousands of cancer cases across 12 states. A different anchor, same reverent tone. I flipped to Fox Business. A true American success story, building a company from nothing in just 7 years. I flipped to a local Denver station, Colorado's own Isabella Wright, proving that innovation can happen anywhere. My face was on every channel. My name was in every headline. And all I could think was, my mother is going to see this. I opened my laptop and navigated to the Forbes website. The headline banner stretched across the top of the page in bold letters. Meet Isabella Wright, the healthcare visionary who just became a billionaire. Below it was a photo I had almost forgotten, taken at a conference 3 years ago. I was mid-laugh, looking confident and alive, like someone who had everything figured out. I barely recognized myself. That woman looked like she knew exactly where she was going. The article traced my journey in meticulous detail. Stanford, the banking job I left, the garage startup with Marcus. Quotes from colleagues appeared throughout the piece. Isabella is the most determined person I have ever met, one said. Another from Dr. Ellen Graves. I knew from the moment I met her that she would change medicine. I am just grateful I got to watch it happen. There was a section on MedInsight's impact. 8,000 early disease detections. Countless lives extended or saved. Hospital administrators praising our technology. Patients writing letters of gratitude. It was everything I had worked for, validated in black and white for the world to see. Then I reached a paragraph near the end that made me stop breathing. When asked about her support system, Wright was characteristically private. I have had incredible mentors and colleagues, she said in a recent interview. They believed in me when it mattered most. No mention of family. Because there was nothing to mention. The reporter had asked about my support system, and I could not name a single blood relative. Not because I was protecting them, because they had not been there to protect. I scrolled to the comments section. Hundreds already. My daughter is in med school and struggles with imposter syndrome every day, one read. I am sending her this article. Thank you, Ms. Wright, for showing her what is possible. Another said, this is what happens when you bet on yourself. Incredible. Strangers celebrating me. Strangers inspired by me. people I had never met finding courage in my story. And still my phone showed no calls from Phoenix. My mother had not reached out. My sister had not reached out. The family that excluded me from Christmas was silent while the rest of the world cheered. I closed the laptop and let that reality sink in. I had dreamed of this moment for years. The vindication, the proof that I was not crazy for walking away from everything safe. But triumph felt hollow when the people who should have witnessed it refused to look. My phone rang with a familiar name. Marcus Chen. I answered immediately, grateful for a voice I trusted. "Merry Christmas, billionaire," he said. "How are you holding up?" "I do not know. I think I am in shock. That is normal." When our first funding round closed, I did not sleep for 3 days. This is bigger than funding Marcus. This is everywhere. "I know. My grandkids just saw you on television. They think you are famous now." I laughed despite myself. The first real laugh in days. "I guess I am. Technically." His tone shifted then, becoming gentler, more serious. "Have they called? Your family?" Silence stretched between us. "No, nothing. Not a single message." I heard him exhale through the phone. "It is still early. Maybe they have not seen it yet. It is on every channel, Marcus. They have seen it. Then maybe they do not know what to say, or maybe they just do not care." Neither of us spoke for a moment. "I thought I would feel triumphant," I finally said. "Vindicated. Like all those years of being dismissed would finally be worth it. And instead I feel hollow. Like I won a race no one was watching. What is the point of proving them wrong if they are not even paying attention? The point is not to prove them wrong, Isabella. The point is that you built something real. Something that helps people. That matters whether they see it or not." "I know. Logically, I know that. But I am 35 years old and I am worth $800 million, and I still just want my mother to say she is proud of me." There was a long pause. "Give it time," he said softly. "This is a lot for anyone to process, even difficult families. And if they never process it, then you find peace another way. You have done it before. Get some rest if you can. Call me if you need anything. And Isabella, I am proud of you, even if they are not." The call ended and I was alone again, surrounded by messages from strangers, but nothing from the people who shared my blood. The hours crawled past. My phone kept buzzing with notifications from journalists and investors and old acquaintances who suddenly remembered I existed. College friends I had not heard from in a decade. "Oh my God, Isabella, is that you on the news?" Former co-workers from the bank. "I always knew you would do something big." People reaching out from every corner of my past, drawn by the gravitational pull of success. Everyone wanted to reconnect. Everyone had congratulations to offer. Everyone except the people who should have been first in line. By noon, I had been interviewed by 3 outlets and featured on 4 network shows. By 1 in the afternoon, my inbox had over 2,000 unread emails. By 2, I had received congratulations from the governor of Colorado, 2 senators, and a tech CEO I had admired for years. By 3 in the afternoon, my family still had not called. I checked my phone obsessively as the hours passed. Opened the text thread with my mother. The last message was from 3 months ago. A generic Happy Thanksgiving that got a thumbs-up emoji in response. Nothing new? Opened Vanessa's thread. The last message was that cruel text from 3 days ago. "You always make things awkward. Nothing since." I told myself it did not matter. I had spent 10 years learning not to need them. But need and want are different things. And I wanted desperately, pathetically for them to reach out first. I wanted them to make the first move, to prove that I mattered enough to pick up the phone. 3:45 in the afternoon. I was standing at my window staring out at the snow when my phone rang. Not a text, an actual call. I looked at the screen and my heart stopped. The name glowing there in white letters against the dark background. Mom. My thumb hovered over the answer button. The phone kept ringing, vibrating in my palm like a heartbeat. I had waited 10 years for this call, dreamed about it, dreaded it. And now it was here and I had no idea what I wanted her to say. I took a breath, pressed accept, raised the phone to my ear. Hello? Silence on the other end. Then my mother's voice came through, trembling, uncertain. Nothing like the cold woman who had called 3 days ago to tell me I made everyone uncomfortable. Isabella, she said, I just saw you on the news. Another pause. I waited. Was that? She stopped, swallowed, tried again. Was that really you? 5 words, after 10 years of dismissal. 10 years of being the family disappointment. 10 years of silence and exclusion and being treated like I did not exist. 5 words. Was that really you? As if she had never known me at all. And maybe that was the problem. Maybe she never had. Was that really you? My mother's voice trembled through the phone like she was speaking to a ghost. I stood at my window watching snow fall on Denver while she waited for an answer to a question that should never have needed asking. Yes, Mom, I said. That was me. Silence stretched between us. I could hear her breathing, processing, trying to reconcile the daughter she had dismissed with the woman she had just seen on national television. The disconnect was too large for her mind to bridge quickly. I let her struggle with it. I was not going to make this easy. For the first time in my adult life, I held the power in our relationship, and I was not ready to give it away. Isabella, she finally managed, I do not understand. They are saying you built a company, a healthcare company. They are saying you are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, 850 million actually. More silence. The number hung in the air between us, impossibly large, impossibly real. How is this possible? Why did you not tell us? There it was. The question I had been expecting. Not congratulations. Not I am proud of you. Not I am sorry I was not there to see it happen. Instead, the accusation hidden inside a question. Why did you not tell us? As if the failure was mine. As if I owed them information they had never bothered to seek. You never asked, Mom. What do you mean I never asked? Of course I asked about your life. No. You asked when I was going to get married. You asked why I could not be more like Vanessa. You asked when I was going to get a real job, but you never asked what I was actually doing. That is not fair, Isabella. I always wanted to know what you were up to. Did you? When was the last time you asked about my work? When was the last time you asked what MedInsight does? She did not answer. The silence was confirmation enough. You do not even know the name of my company, do you? Still nothing. She had no defense because there was none. For 10 years she had been content to know nothing about my life beyond the ways it disappointed her. Now she was learning that her disappointment was built on ignorance, and that the daughter she had written off had been building an empire while she looked the other way. I could hear something shifting in her breathing. The beginning of tears. Isabella, she said, her voice cracking, I am your mother. I had a right to know about something this big. A right? I kept my voice level even though my heart was pounding. Mom, 3 days ago you told me not to come home for Christmas. You said my presence would make everyone uncomfortable. That was different. I did not know. Exactly. You did not know. Because you never wanted to. The tears were flowing now. I could hear them in her voice, the wet thickness of emotion she usually kept locked away. I did not mean to hurt you, Isabella. I was just trying to keep the peace. Vanessa and Derek were having problems, and I thought, you thought it would be easier without me there. Easier to pretend I do not exist. Easier to have Christmas with the daughter you are proud of instead of the one you gave up on. That is not what I meant. Is it not? Then explain it to me, Mom. Explain how excluding me from every holiday for 3 years was supposed to make me feel welcomed. Explain how I was supposed to know you cared when every action you took said the opposite. She was crying harder now, soft, uncertain sobs coming through the phone. Part of me wanted to comfort her. The old part. The part that had spent 35 years seeking her approval and receiving only conditions. But a stronger part held firm. Your tears do not change what happened, Mom. They do not erase 10 years of being treated like I did not exist. I did not know it was that bad, Isabella. I swear I did not know. How could you not know? I told you. In the beginning, I tried to tell you everything. About my research. About the company. About what we were building. You stopped calling. You pulled away. I stopped calling because every conversation made me feel worse. I pulled away because staying close was killing me. Did you ever wonder why I stopped trying, Mom? Or did you just feel relieved? The question landed like a slap. I heard her intake of breath, the sharp gasp of someone confronting a truth they had been avoiding. I never felt relieved, she whispered. I missed you. Then why did you not reach out? Why did you not fight for me? She had no answer. Just more tears. Just the sound of a woman realizing that her neglect had consequences she never anticipated. I waited for her to find words, to offer something more than excuses. But all she could manage was the same refrain. I did not know. I did not know. The tears began to subside. When Margaret spoke again, there was a different note in her voice. The beginning of something I recognized, a familiar pattern emerging from the chaos. Isabella, she said, let us not dwell on the past. What is important is that you have done something wonderful. We should celebrate, we? Yes. As a family, you should come to Phoenix. We could have a belated Christmas dinner. Everyone would love to see you. I felt something cold settle in my chest. This was what she did, what she had always done. Whenever reality became too uncomfortable, she tried to skip past it, rewrite the narrative, pretend that acknowledging a problem was the same as solving it. You mean everyone would love to see the billionaire? That is not what I meant. 3 days ago, I was too uncomfortable to be around. Now suddenly everyone wants to celebrate with me? People make mistakes, Isabella. I made a mistake. Can we not move past this? This is what you do, Mom. You rewrite history to make yourself the victim or the hero, never the one who caused harm. I am not trying to rewrite anything. You literally just said, let us not dwell on the past. As if 10 years of neglect is something we can gloss over with a dinner invitation. I am trying to make things right. No, you are trying to make things convenient. There is a difference. A voice in the background interrupted us. Muffled but recognizable. Vanessa. Mom, what is she saying? Let me talk to her. Margaret spoke away from the phone. Not now, Vanessa. Give me the phone, Mom. I want to talk to my sister. My stomach tightened. Sister. As if that word still meant something, as if we had any relationship left to salvage. Margaret came back on the line. Vanessa wants to speak with you. I am sure she does. The phone shuffled, static and movement. Then my sister's voice came through, bright and eager and completely oblivious to the damage she had done. Isabella, oh my God, I cannot believe this. Why did you not tell us? The same question. The same entitled assumption that my silence was the problem, not their indifference, not the years of mockery and dismissal. My failure to inform them of a success they never believed I would achieve. Hello, Vanessa. This is insane. My sister is a billionaire. Derek is losing his mind. He keeps saying we need to talk about investment opportunities. Is that why you are calling? Investment opportunities? What? No. I am calling because I am your sister, and I just found out you are like famous. You are not calling because 3 days ago you texted me that I always make things awkward and should find a real job? Silence. Finally. I did not mean that the way it sounded. How did you mean it, Vanessa? Because it sounded like you wanted me to disappear. Isabella, come on. We are sisters. Sisters fight. It does not mean anything. It meant something to me. You are being dramatic. This is exactly what I am talking about. Goodbye, Vanessa. Wait, Isabella, do not. I heard Margaret grab the phone back. Isabella, please, do not hang up. Just come to Phoenix. Let us talk in person. Why should I? Because I am your mother. Because despite everything I love you. And because... Her voice broke again. Because your father would have wanted us to try. I went still. My father, the one card she knew would land. The mention of Henry was calculated. She knew what he meant to me, knew that his memory was the only leverage she had left. Do not use Dad to manipulate me. I am not manipulating, I am asking. Please, Isabella, come home. Just to talk. Every instinct told me to refuse, to protect myself, to stay in Denver where I had built a life without them. But another voice whispered something different. My father's voice. You are stronger than your anger, Bella. Do not let it make your choices for you. I will think about it. That is all I ask. But Mom, if I come, it is not to pretend everything is fine. It is not to take photos for Instagram or make anyone feel better about themselves. I understand. Do you? Because if I come, I am going to say things you do not want to hear. And this time you are going to listen. Silence. I will call you tomorrow with my answer. I hung up before she could respond. Stood at my window, phone clutched in my hand, snow falling soft outside. My mother wanted me to come home. My sister wanted to talk about investments. My dead father was being used as a bargaining chip. And I had to decide. Was I strong enough to face them? Or smart enough to walk away? I had 24 hours to figure it out. The phone call with my mother echoed in my mind long after I hung up. I sat in my apartment as darkness fell on Christmas Day, the weight of the decision pressing down on me. Go to Phoenix and face them, or stay in Denver and protect what little peace I had built. But before I could think it through, my phone began buzzing again. Not journalists this time, not investors or colleagues, family. Word had spread through the right network like wildfire. Suddenly everyone wanted to reconnect. Everyone had something to say. Aunt Barbara, Cousin Michael, Uncle Richard. Names I had not seen on my phone in years. Some I had nearly forgotten existed. Funny how $800 million makes people remember you exist. I watched the notifications pile up without answering. Each name was a reminder of a holiday I was not invited to. A birthday forgotten. A family group chat I was never added to. They were not reaching out because they cared. They were reaching out because the world told them I mattered, and I had to decide if that was enough. I scrolled through the messages, cataloging the chaos. Aunt Barbara had not spoken to me in 5 years. Her text read, "Sweetheart, I always knew you were special. We should have lunch soon." Cousin Michael had borrowed $3,000 from me in 2019 and never paid it back. His message said, "Cuz, so proud of you. Hey, I have this business idea I would love to run by you." Uncle Richard had called my career choice foolish at Thanksgiving 7 years ago. Now he wrote, "Isabella, your father would be so proud. I always told Margaret you would figure things out." Every message followed the same formula. Fake warmth, revisionist history, and a hint, sometimes subtle, sometimes not, that they wanted something from me. Not one of them apologized. Not one acknowledged that they had written me off for a decade. They just pretended the last 10 years had not happened, like I was supposed to be grateful they noticed me now. A notification appeared at the top of my screen. Isabella Wright has been added to Wright Family Updates, the family group chat, the one I had never been included in before. I opened it and found 47 unread messages. Did everyone see Isabella on the news? I cannot believe it. She should have told us. When is she coming to visit? They were talking about me like I was not there, like I was a topic for discussion rather than a person who could read every word. I typed a message. "Hello, everyone. Yes, it is really me. And yes, I am reading everything you are writing." I watched the chat go silent. Typing bubbles appeared and disappeared. No one knew what to say. For the first time, they were the uncomfortable ones. It felt better than I expected, and worse than I wanted it to. My phone rang with a number I recognized immediately. Derek Coleman, my brother-in-law, the corporate lawyer who once told me at Thanksgiving that real professionals do not gamble on startups. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Let him wait. "Isabella, great to finally connect." His voice was smooth and practiced. the same tone he probably used with clients he was about to overcharge. Listen, I know things have been complicated between you and the family, but I want you to know I have always respected your hustle. My hustle, absolutely. Building a company from scratch? That takes guts, I have always said that. You told me I was wasting my education, Derek, at your own dinner table. Brief pause. He recovered quickly. Well, we all say things we do not mean. Water under the bridge, right? Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about some opportunities. My firm handles a lot of high net worth clients, and with your new situation you are going to need serious wealth management. I have financial advisors, Derek. Sure. But family looks out for family, right? I could get you preferential rates. Introduce you to some key players. Is that why you are calling? To offer me your services? Another pause. Longer this time. I could hear him recalculating. I am calling because you are family, Isabella. I was not family last week. His voice hardened slightly, the mask slipping. Look, I am trying to extend an olive branch here. Vanessa is upset. Your mother is a mess. And frankly, this whole situation has thrown everyone for a loop. Interesting way to describe finding out you were wrong about someone for a decade. Isabella. I have to go, Derek. But thank you for the call. It told me everything I needed to know. I hung up before he could respond. Among all the noise, one name stood out when it appeared on my screen. Dr. Ellen Graves, my Stanford professor. The woman who had seen potential in me when I was 25 and terrified and had no business plan. She had started me on this path, had believed in me before I believed in myself. I answered immediately. Dr. Graves, Isabella, I saw the news. I wanted to call before the vultures descended. Her voice was warm but direct. No flattery, no agenda. Just genuine concern from someone who had known me before any of this mattered. How are you holding up? And I mean really. Not the answer you are giving journalists. I exhaled. The first honest question anyone had asked all day. I do not know. I thought this would feel different, better. Success rarely feels the way we imagine it will, especially when the people who should celebrate with us are the ones who doubted us most. I remember when you came to my office 12 years ago, you had this fire in your eyes, desperate to prove something. I asked you who you were trying to prove it to. I remember, I said everyone. And what did I tell you? You said everyone is too many people. Pick one person whose opinion actually matters. Did you ever pick? My father. But he is gone. Then pick yourself, Isabella. You are the only one who was there for the whole journey. She paused. Are you going to see your family? I do not know. My mother asked me to come to Phoenix. What do you want? I want closure. I want to say the things I have been holding for 10 years. I want them to hear me, really hear me, just once, then go. But go for yourself, not for them. And remember, you do not need their approval anymore. You never did. I know. But I think I need to say goodbye to the part of me that wanted it. After Ellen's call, I sat in silence weighing my options. Every argument for staying. Every reason to go. Then my phone lit up with a different notification. Not a call, not a text from the family chat. An email. From Sophie_Coleman_2016@gmail.com. Subject line. Please read, Aunt Bella. My heart tightened. I opened it with trembling fingers. Dear Aunt Bella, I saw you on TV today. You looked so pretty and important. Mom and Dad are acting weird. They keep talking about you and money and stuff I do not understand. I do not care about any of that. I just wanted to tell you I am proud of you. I always knew you were special even when nobody else said it. I still have all your letters. I read them when I am sad. They make me feel better. Are you going to come visit? I really want to see you. I made you 12 new drawings. I have been saving them. I love you, Aunt Bella. I love you even if you are not a billionaire. I loved you before. Love, Sophie. Then a postscript at the bottom. Please do not be mad at Mom and Dad. They do not understand things like we do. I read the email 3 times. Tears streamed down my face. The first real tears I had allowed myself all day. An 8-year-old understood what the adults in my family could not. She loved me before, when I had nothing, when I was nobody to them. Sophie saw me when everyone else looked away, and she was the reason I had to go back, not for my mother, not for Vanessa, for the little girl who never stopped believing in me even when belief was something she had to hide. I wrote back immediately. Dear Sophie, I love you too, more than you know, and yes, I am coming to visit. I will be there tomorrow. Save those drawings for me. Love, Aunt Bella. I hit send. The decision was made. I opened my laptop and searched for flights. Denver to Phoenix, one way. December 26th. There was one leaving at 9 in the morning. First class. Why not? I could afford it now. My finger hovered over the purchase button. I was not going back to Phoenix to reconcile. I was not going to make peace or pretend everything was fine. I was going to say the things I should have said years ago, to stand in front of the people who dismissed me and let them see who I had become. Not for revenge, not for validation, for closure, and for one 8-year-old girl who never stopped believing in me. I clicked purchase. The confirmation email arrived seconds later. Your flight to Phoenix is booked. I closed the laptop and looked out at the Denver skyline one last time. Tomorrow I would face my family. Tomorrow I would tell the truth. And whatever happened after that, at least I would finally be free. The plane lifted off from Denver at 9 in the morning on December 26th. I sat in first class watching the Rocky Mountains shrink beneath the clouds, their snow-covered peaks disappearing into the gray winter sky. My phone was off. I needed the silence. Needed time to prepare for what was waiting on the other side of this flight. Marcus had texted before takeoff. Remember, you are not going there to be loved. You are going there to be free. Call me if you need backup. I read those words 3 times before powering down. He understood what my family never had. That this trip was not about reconciliation. It was about closure. About saying the things that had been trapped inside me for a decade. About standing in front of the people who dismissed me and finally being heard. The flight attendant offered champagne. I declined. I wanted to be completely clear-headed when I faced them. No buffer, no escape, just the truth and whatever came after. Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport was warm when I stepped off the plane, 72 degrees and sunny, the opposite of Denver's snow and gray skies. I had left Colorado wrapped in winter and landed in something that felt almost like spring. The desert air hit my face as I walked through the terminal, familiar and foreign at the same time. I had grown up breathing this air, had spent 18 years in this city before I escaped to Stanford and then Denver. Now I was back, not as the daughter who ran away, not as the failure they had written off, as someone else entirely, someone they did not know how to see yet. I rented a car at the counter. Something modest. A silver Honda. Nothing flashy. I did not want to arrive looking like I was showing off. That would give them ammunition, a reason to resent me instead of reckon with what they had done. I wanted to arrive as myself, the self they had never bothered to see. The drive to my mother's house would take 40 minutes to remember who I used to be, and decide who I wanted to become. The streets of Phoenix unfolded before me like a map of my past. Every corner held a ghost. There was the mall where I got my first job at 16, folding clothes at a department store to save money for college. My mother had wanted me to work at her friend's boutique instead, more prestigious, she said. I chose the mall because it was mine. There was the high school where I graduated valedictorian. Margaret had wanted me to be prom queen, had pushed me toward popularity instead of academics. When I won the academic award instead of the crown, she had looked at me with something close to disappointment, as if being smart was a consolation prize for not being pretty enough. There was the church where we held my father's funeral. I slowed as I passed it. The parking lot was empty now, but I could still see the cars lined up that day. Still feel the weight of the casket as they lowered him into the ground. Still hear Sophie asking where Grandpa went. There was the intersection where I sat in my car after quitting the bank, crying so hard I could not drive. I had pulled over right there, on that corner, and sobbed for 20 minutes, Terrified of what I had done. Terrified of what came next. Terrified that my mother was right and I was throwing my life away. I had built a life in Denver specifically to escape these streets, these memories, these people. And now I was driving straight back into all of it. A billboard rose up on my right. "Welcome to Phoenix, the Valley of the Sun." They called it the Valley of the Sun. For me, it had always been the Valley of Shadows. My phone buzzed. I glanced at it at a red light. A text from Vanessa. "Mom is freaking out. She has been cleaning since 6 this morning. Just warning you." I did not respond. My mother cleaned when she was anxious. When she could not control a situation, she controlled the dust. I wondered what she thought she could scrub away before I arrived. The years of neglect, the cruelty, the silence. Some stains do not come out no matter how hard you try. The house looked exactly as I remembered. Single-story